Welcome to the Catholic Talks. This is a program where Catholics can learn by chit-chatting about the faith.
In this program, we seek to know about Christ through scriptures, tradition, and typology, which leads us to know Christ in prayer and become another Christ as we gain virtues.
Tonight, we are broadcasting the Articles of Faith series.
In this series, we will understand what it is we believe as Catholics. We will see how different aspects of the faith are connected, and we will do this in bite-sized portions at a time. Thank you for being here tonight. Our program will start in a moment.
Hello and welcome to this episode of the Catholic Talks. I am your host, Joby Provido, and today we are continuing with our Articles of Faith series. We will be talking about the descent of Christ to the realm of the dead. I am also the author of this book, 100 Things Every Catholic Should Know, and this is where we are getting the materials for our reflections today. Every Sunday or every time we go to Mass, we profess our faith by saying the creed. It says everything what we believe in. And we say about Christ, what we believe about Christ, we say he was born of the Virgin Mary, suffered under Pontius Pilate, was crucified, died, and he was buried. He descended into hell. And on the third day, he rose again from the dead. Now, it is quite interesting because this particular phrase that I have colored red has a lot of causes a lot of questions from the faithful, and a lot of people are asking, why did Christ descend into hell? I mean, why did he go there? What was there? So we have to first understand that the hell that we are referring to is not the hell where people who are damned go to. It's not the place of the damned. Instead, we are talking of a place where dead people go before heaven was opened. Okay? This is sometimes called, in Hebrew, Sheol. In Greek, it's called Hades. Sometimes we refer to it as the bosom of Abraham or the realm of the dead. Now, why did the church use the phrase hell for this particular place? Well, this particular place was where people who were they were meritus of heaven, they were good people, and they deserved heaven. But since heaven wasn't opened yet to them, because it was Christ, his death, and his resurrection and ascension that would open heaven. So heaven was close to these good people. They were good and they were deserving of heaven, but they couldn't go to heaven because it wasn't still open to them. And so they were in this place, this realm of the dead, where they were deprived of God. And that is a one of the ways that we can define hell, no? A deprivation of God. So that was the way that the early church, the term that the early church used, it was hell. But we have to always remember that the hell that we are referring to when Christ descended to hell is not the hell of the damned, but the place where good people went to but could not go to heaven yet. Okay, so it ties up nicely when in the Gospel of Luke or the other Gospels, right after our Lord was tempted in the desert, one of the first things he did when he went to his public life was he went to the synagogue and he was asked to read from the scrolls. So that's what usually happens. A Jew would go to the synagogue and then he would be asked to read the scrolls and explain it. And we read here now from Luke that he unrolled the scroll and found a passage where it was written The Spirit of the Lord is upon me because He has anointed me to bring glad tidings to the poor. He has sent me to proclaim liberty to captives and recovery of sight to the blind, to let the oppressed go free, and to proclaim a year acceptable to the Lord. And we can find that in Luke 4, chapter 4, verses 17 to 19. And also, let's also look at the original text, what Christ was referring to, Isaiah chapter 61, verses 1 and 2. And there in that chapter, we see that that Isaiah is talking about this person who will proclaim liberty to the captives and release to prisoners. And this is that particular time when Christ descends to that realm where he proclaims liberty to the captives and is about to tell them that you are going to be free. I'm about to open heaven and you are going to be free from this place. Sometimes a painting can describe and express what we believe in, what we profess in our faith. And one of my favorite paintings is called The Harrowing of Hell by Fra Angelico. This is his painting over here. And what we see now is the realm of the dead. It's depicted like a cave. It was formerly closed, and we see now a door that is on the floor and presumably was opened by an earthquake. We know that there was an earthquake because on the lower left, we see a cracks on the floor. And this was the earthquake that was described when Christ was crucified, when he was dying on the cross. There was this earthquakes, and the sun turned dark, and described in the Gospels. And so here we see now Christ descend to this particular realm. He hasn't ascended yet. He is not yet resurrected. So he's in a spirit form now, and maybe he's also in his body form, and he's now in the realm of the dead. And we know it is Christ because he has a halo in his head and he's holding a victorious banner on his left hand. It's a banner, a white flag with a red cross on it, and signifying his crucifixion. And we can see that their rays is glorious. There are rays emanating from his body. Okay, so now he is in the realm of the dead, and we see now that the door is flung open, and beneath it is Satan crushed. And we have to remember the promise of God in the Garden of Eden, where he said to the serpent, the woman and her offspring shall crush her head. And here we have this particular depiction that the door which Christ is upon, and his foot is right there, crushing Satan and his head. And we see the other devils on the left side. They're cowering and they're trying to go into the crevices of a cave. They're afraid of Christ. And now, so Christ now is with the door open. It's presented like a prison because they could not leave. The door was closed. But now that it's open, Christ is taking the hand of Adam, the first man. He's taking his hand and now leading him to heaven. Not yet, no. He hasn't resurrected. He hasn't ascended yet, but he's already proclaiming that very soon you are going to leave this person. I am going to lead you into heaven. Okay, you don't have to be prisoners here anymore, and that's the whole point of this particular image. So we have now Adam, all now white. He's old. He's the oldest, and so he has a really long beard, and his hair is white. And Christ is holding his hand, presumably leading him out. And behind him, we have several figures. We have faces. The one that's next to him with a crown is King David. And then in front of King David, we have Abel, the first person who was murdered by his brother Cain, and we know it's Abel because he has a bloodied head. And then next to Abel, or very in front of Abel, we have now John the Baptist. We know it because his clothes, because of the clothes, no, described the way it's described in the Gospels. And right behind him, the one on the extreme right is Moses. We know it's Moses because there are rays that are coming from his head. Every time Moses spoke with God in the tent of meeting, he would come out and his face would be all shiny. People could not look at him because it was so shiny that he had to cover his head with a cloth. No, and so these are the good people who deserve heaven. They deserve heaven, and presumably, and they were imprisoned here because, in a way, in a sense, they were imprisoned there because heaven was not yet open to them. And so this is a beautiful rendering of what we believe that Christ did when he descended to hell. He was there to proclaim liberty to the captives, to release to the prisoners. And these are the prisoners that he is taking out and leading to heaven when he ascends. And so that's it for this episode. I hope you learned something new. And please click on the subscribe button so that you don't miss future episodes. And if you like this episode, share it with somebody who you think might enjoy it, might learn from it. Okay, this is your host, Joby Provido, and I hope to see you next time. God bless you. Bye-bye.
Welcome to the Catholic Talks. This is a program where Catholics can learn by chit-chatting about the faith.
In this program, we seek to know about Christ through scriptures, tradition, and typology, which leads us to know Christ in prayer and become another Christ as we gain virtues. Join us each Wednesday at 8 p.m. Let's chit-chat about the faith. See you next week. Good night.